Alright guys, TacticalRab here and today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News and a massive day in the Valorant world yesterday. A huge match, an incredibly exciting match as well, intense match between OpTic Gaming and Loud. One of the massive favourites of the tournament already out at the very first hurdle. But after this game concluded, lots of talk was about the map that it was played on. Split, decider, overtime, unbelievable affair. Seems like every single banger series so far this tournament has been on a split overtime decider. And many pros are wondering, why is Split getting removed from the game? And ShahZaM saying that Pearl that's replacing it is actually an absolutely terrible map. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that on lots of great support recently. First of all, this from Mystic. Tested positive, I believe, a couple of days ago. He's now negative. Great news, of course, for Fnatic. They don't play until, well, a couple of days' time when the playoffs begin. But by the end of today, we are going to know all the teams that are going to advance to the playoffs, which, of course, is very exciting indeed. But yes, Fnatic should be at full strength when it comes to their matchups in a few days' time. Probably, as it stands right now, the favourites for this entire tournament. Let's talk some patch updates. A new patch update comes through yesterday. Yoru, KO, and Phoenix all getting changes, as we saw trialed recently in the public beta environment. Interestingly enough, Chamber still as he is, right? No changes to Chamber as of yet, despite the fact that even in terms of pick rate this tournament, he's at rather above average. Yoru, ultimate duration time increased from 10 up to 12 seconds, and unequipped time reduced from 1.6 seconds or 1.2 seconds down to 0.8. So some small buffs here from Yoru, but it might be enough of a factor to start making him a bit more relevant, but it's really not all that much of a big deal, I would imagine. Now, Phoenix, these changes are actually maybe slightly more significant. Flash max duration increased from 1.1 seconds up to 1.5. The wind-up time has now gone down to half a second from 0.7. Weapon will equip earlier if you stop bending the wall while in use, and after using the ultimate, you'll regain the amount of shield you had previously, which is also quite a significant update. So maybe this helps Phoenix be a bit more viable. Of course, he's practically been irrelevant for a long time now, but look, maybe this is a small change that might take Phoenix back to where he was, of course, in use a little bit at the start of this game. And they've copied over the KO changes that they theorized as well. So the grenade size is actually now smaller, but it now no longer needs a line of sight. This means damage can happen behind a box. If you use that grenade and you know where someone is roughly, you can get damage through boxes because it doesn't affect, line of sight doesn't affect it. So that's a rather big deal. And also Ultimate now only plays the revival sound for allies while enemies hear a short sound at the start of it. So that's also rather interesting. So yeah, KO is honestly pretty widely used already in competitive Valorant, and it now probably will be used even more so because this seems like a buff to me. Let's talk what was going on in the Masters then, because well, 3 series yesterday, they were absolute cracking series. I'm pretty sure every single one went all the way to a game 3. Northeptian got the job done over xerxes, right? It was honestly incredible, the fact that it was the same thing last time out really with their Zeta division, that their first round matchup, they got pretty much blown off the server, and I think that maybe was the case. And people were like, okay, these guys just don't quite have what it takes. And this time, of course, with Northeptian, I was thinking a similar thing after their first round game. They then lost the first map here to xerxes. They bounce back and win the second one, and then it goes to a bind decider where Northeptian eventually get the job done. So xerxes, a team that was pretty favoured to maybe do something and do some damage in this tournament, especially over Northeptian, go down, and Northeptian, the Japanese guys, they make the run, right? So last time out it was Zeta division who came top 4 at Masters 1. Is this the beginning of the Northeptian run all the way through, right? But yeah, congratulations to these guys. What a performance, honestly, especially on this bind in the end. 13-15 after an incredible overtime, they get the job done. Honestly, the amount of games that have got overtime lately, I can't imagine what's going to happen in the actual playoffs if this is what we're going to get treated to in only the group stages of the tournament. Then the next game was DRX versus FPX. I predicted DRX to win this one, but FPX came out and won the map 1 pretty impressively. Angel had a few interesting words to say actually after this game finished, that effectively DRX just got lucky because I don't know, FPX, they didn't have enough time to practice with their team or whatever. And that's the difficult thing really with Cider subbing in for the team instead of Saigetsu. Just the difference in caliber of player really between Cider and Saigetsu is definitely noticeable. And DRX, when it came down to it on this defense on the breeze on the deciding map, they got the job done very comfortably indeed. To DRX, the next team to qualify through to the playoffs, that's guaranteed. Pretty sure the draw is effectively done randomly after everything is decided. So I'm guessing tonight we shall know which teams have qualified and also which teams will be playing which teams when their playoffs begin in a few days' time. Lucky for FPX in a way that Shao was able to get out here because he was a monster this series, but yes, in the end, not enough. And Stacks, man, this is the thing. Stacks before this tournament, there was all this talk, Stacks versus, BCJ on xNed. The Stacks actually isn't particularly good at all, and BCJ and Crashies are the best players in that particular role. But yeah, hopefully we get DRX versus xNed, man. If honestly that's the draw, DRX xNed, then all this drama we've been talking about the last couple of weeks will officially come to fruition. Let's talk about what was the best series of the day, and that was OpTic versus Loud. These, of course, a rematch of the grand finals at Masters 1. They play each other losers round 1 here in their group. Remarkable scenes, as Ye says he had a really bad series in yesterday's game. They lost to Guild, and as he says, played a embarrassing yesterday will do better today. Indeed, he certainly did. And honestly, the first couple of games were crazy. Loud won game 1, OpTic were 1 map away of going out of the tournament. They bounced back and won the Fracture. Surprising in a way to me that Loud kind of allowed Fracture to go through, just because what happened at the Masters was that OpTic, whenever they played Fracture, were dominant on it, especially against Loud, but still, it gets through in the series regardless. And then a split decider, right? This is the thing. We're going to talk about split here in a second, because for some reason, every single time a series goes game 3 split, it's always an absolute cracker. Loud up 9-5 at this point. OpTic win a crucial defense, get back to 9-6. There was a good few rounds that Loud probably shouldn't have won, but OpTic let slip. But in the end, OpTic bring it back. Eventually, they take an advantage, 12-11, and then it goes to overtime. So just an unbelievable map again. Like, I mean, finally, Ye really turned up right here. And this is the thing, I was looking at the compositions, really, looking at the fact that Loud were not using a chamber on this map, yet, of course, OpTic pretty much do every single time. That's just what Ye uses. And that was kind of a big talking point for me going into this tournament. It was like, okay, some of these regions don't like the chamber as much as North American teams do. Will that come back to bite them, or will it come back to bite European teams, or will it come back to bite North American teams, sorry, for using chamber too much or relying on it too much? But yeah, when Ye's getting kills like this, it just goes to show why this agent can just be so powerful, right? And this was a crucial highlight, I'm pretty sure, for Ye here, just to get his confidence up. This is Ye at his best, practically, and well, obviously a critical round for OpTic to try and keep this series alive. Eventually, it goes to overtime, and this was a crucial round here in the overtime, right? 13-12 at this point in favor of OpTic, and then the team kill comes through with a nade, right? Sadak goes down, Aspas takes him down with a nade. Like, you know, that was honestly not what they wanted to see at all, because at this point, Victor had been first blooded. They had a 5v4 advantage. The team nade brings them down, and in the end, it's OpTic that end up closing out this round and winning the match and surviving on for at least one more day. As even Dapr says, Brazilian nade, right? So, like, yeah, he was definitely inciting smile. I'm sure his DMs don't look particularly good today as a result of this one. But yes, never outsay OpTic. I mean, what a series, honestly, between these two teams. Titans of the game playing in the losers round 1, and let's talk about the format as well as a result of this one. But yeah, OpTic survived. Stacey wasn't particularly happy. He was talking on Twitter that he just didn't play up to his level, but here we go, 13-12 after that kind of team kill comes through. Marv gets 2 big kills, and eventually Aspas goes down as well to Crashies, and that is job done for OpTic. They survive for at least one more day. As Ye says, GG's, 2-1, we go next. But of course, just beating Loud, that's not enough to qualify. They've got to take down Crew as well today, where I think they are favourites, but of course, look, last time out, they lost their first round matchup of the tournament. They then won 2 games in the losers bracket, qualified to the playoffs, and then won the entire playoffs. That's, of course, what happened to OpTic at Masters 1. They're effectively repeating the script here in Masters 2. And as Ye says, though, I feel bad for Loud. They should have been a first seed and went through to playoffs regardless. Them playing in groups versus playoffs was decided by stuff completely outside of their control. I hope Riot changes the system in the future now. This is honestly a really interesting point here from Ye, because the reason why Loud didn't get the bye straight to the playoffs was effectively, as he describes, a reason outside of their control. The reason being that Loud beat NIP in order to qualify ahead to get to Masters and win their own region, but NIP lost in the Latin America and Brazilian LCQ to, I think it was Crew Esports in the end, that then went through, right? So the way the seeding was determined was that because Crew and Leviathan, who were the winner of the Latin American qualifiers, because Leviathan was from the same region as Crew, who also qualified, then Leviathan were considered the number 1 seed, and from that kind of entire region, and Loud were considered number 2 seed. Effectively a reason outside of their control, just because, like, at NIP it weren't so good, means that Loud get a worse seed. And in fairness, this happened before, right? It also happened to Crew last time around, where, like, I think it was the other way around, and NIP qualified, and therefore Crew kind of missed out. But yeah, lots to talk about how exactly to improve that format going forward. And this is what was interesting from Yinsu Collins here, the second place curse. Fnatic finished second at Reykjavik 2021, failed to qualify for Masters Berlin. Every time you come second apparently in an event, you bomb out of either the next event or something along those lines. Gambit second at Champions, miss Reykjavik 2022. Loud second at Reykjavik, bomb out of Copenhagen, right? So definitely the second place curse seems to be the key one to keep your eyes on, right? What a series, honestly. Like, yeah, Ye had a great performance, especially over the last couple of maps. Fracture right here as well, 13-8 in the end, and then split 14-12. Crazy series. I mean, at this point at the half, it was 7-5. Quickly became 9-5, but OpTic brought it back. Good composure from them to close out their defense and end up taking the series and survive in the tournament, at least for now. But this big question was really about Split, right? Because that's the thing. When Split was announced to be removed from the game a few weeks ago, lots of pros were very confused, because Riot said at the time that they consulted pros, they talked to pros, and that effectively the pros kind of gave them the feedback that they wanted Split to be gone. Now, I wonder which pros exactly they're talking about here, because as Vanity says, we really removed this map GG. Many pros have said the Split was either their favorite map to play on a professional level, or like certainly their favorite map to watch. Now, I don't think it's necessarily quite as good in pickup games, but I think a lot of pros have said that in kind of professional play, Split is one of the very best, and that's why you see a load of teams electing to play it here in deciding maps. It's kind of like an, Inferno decider in Counter-Strike is an absolute classic most times it's played, especially in a major grand finals or something. It seems like every time Split is played as a decider, it's also an absolute banger. And honestly, probably the most fun I've had watching Valorant has been on split overtime deciders, right? It seems like every single time it always happens, right? The teams go for it and they always deliver. So like, that's the thing. Vanity's like, we really removed this map. What is going on here? Like, I just want to know Riot's thought process on removing split when there are plenty of other maps that could have been removed instead. Many pros giving their thoughts there. Valen actually says, get rid of Fracture and bring split back. I feel like Fracture's actually not the worst map in the pool, but I think it's certainly not the best. So Valen wants Fracture gone instead of split. And then we've also got to talk about Bind, right? I think if you probably had to get the pros to vote on which map they want gone, it's probably Bind that they would vote for to, well, effectively disappear and for Pearl to come in instead. So of course they want to do the rotation. They want Pearl to come in and they want one map to go, but getting rid of split, given what we've seen this past week effectively, and probably will see through the rest of the tournament, is highly questionable. So a lot of pros have kind of raised questions to Riot as to why this exactly has to be the case. And also, as ShahZaM says though, Pearl coming in, whether Pearl should even come in as a map. Pearl is the worst map I've ever played in any video game, right? So I'm sure you guys have some experience already, if you guys have played in ranked and stuff, on what you think about Pearl, because I think the bomb sites themselves actually look and they make sense, they feel alright, but the middle of the map is such a mess. Now, whether like as time progresses, teams come up with new strategies, but yeah, mid-map on Pearl is a massive mess. It doesn't really feel like there is even a mid. There's kind of like two mids. It's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. It's like, look, maybe the teams get used to it. Maybe the map will prove to be better over time. But again, ShahZaM is not happy at all with Pearl and the current state of it in the game. And certainly, I'm guessing, believes that Split should be in the game instead of Pearl. But maybe if Pearl is going to come through, as I'm sure it will, they want to eventually rotate the map pool and maybe some changes needed to Pearl to make it more viable. But and they probably will happen over time. But is Split the map that should be gone, or should it be? I would personally probably vote for Bind as well. But you guys may well disagree in the comment section below. This is an example here of Pearl, if you guys are kind of unfamiliar with what this map looks like, and the fact that yes, this is over at one of the bomb sites, but the mid map is honestly pretty hard to deal with at certain times as well. Wanted to mention real quick as we discuss Sentinels, the fact that Rodmore does confirm that they are finishing their evaluations of analysts for their boot camp, so that of course is the next update we can expect from them over the coming days. And just to mention this as well on agent pick rates after the first 3 days, after, well, Chamber still 32 picks, 72.7% of games Chamber is there, Raze, FaZe, KO and Breach. And that's the thing, Fade, right? This is the big talking point that I also had coming into this event, that like, how often was Fade going to get picked? Because I feel like she definitely has a lot of potential, and she's getting picked to the 3rd most common agent at the present time. So that's a rather big deal as we progress through to the second half of the tournament. But of course, until we get to that point, we're going to need 2 more teams to qualify. Crew versus OpTic today. I feel like OpTic will do the run and they'll make it happen again. I wasn't like overly impressed by Crew in that guild series, to be honest, but I certainly feel like this series has a map 3 written all over it. And then FPX Northeptian, man, I don't know, like maybe I just honestly believe in the Northeptian hype trade at this point and they're going to qualify as well. But very much enjoy your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.